All right, my name's Eddie Blanco from Blanco Realty.
And I'm Stephanie Herron, also with Blanco Realty.
I'm Eddie Blanco the third with Blanco Realty.
So today we're going to go over buying versus renting. A lot of people get stuck with the renting and they just get used to it. And I was one of those people. I rented for years and I never even wanted to buy it because you get used to it. You don't got to take care of the lawn, or you don't got to take care of if anything goes wrong. You just call the apartment complex and they come fix it. But once I got into real estate, I was going to a buyer seminar, and I was actually going over on how much equity you're losing by renting versus buying every year. And once after that class, I swear that's when I went and got the pre-qual. I talked to the lender and I got approved to get my house. So it was just a wake-up call. You're making your landlord rich by renting, and there are some pros to renting, and we'll go over that as well. But today, I just want to let you know the market, it's crazy. There's so much buyers out there, people looking for homes, and there's not enough inventory. I know Stephanie and Eddie both have had rental clients recently. So we're going to go ahead and let you guys give your experience and how the market was. And it wasn't any easier than out there helping a buyer. So who wants to go first?
Oh, after you.
Age before beauty.
So right now I'm actually working with a client. It's very hard. The inventory is low as well, even with the rentals. The application process is also very, I guess you would say, stringent. I mean, they look at everything. So I could see where somebody would prefer to buy against rent. But like I said, the market is very tough right now, even with the rentals, and it's even hard for renters to get into a place. How do you feel about that?
I mean, in my experience, I feel like everyone I have kind of access to in terms of real estate are like early 20s kind of people who don't fully understand real estate, who don't know that there are steps you could take to improve your credit so that you can buy a house. And that if you do buy the house, you can make money by selling the house afterwards instead of just making your landlord money. And it's just not very clear, it seems, to like the younger community how easy it is to be a homeowner instead of a renter.
Yeah, that is true. People definitely don't know that they can get approved. There are steps to take. There are programs. There's down payment assistance. There's all kind of programs out there to help buyers. The banks want you to buy a house. I mean, that's how they make their money off the interest. So it's in their best interest to help you buy. The inventory is low, so I mean, it is competitive, but the rental space, that's competitive as well. And I know, how many rental houses did you show?
For one group of prospective renters, they looked at, within a month, like 15 houses.
See, and it's a misconception. Like, they'll call and they'll be like, I need to get a rental by next month. There's no way you're going to get one by next month, because by the time you look, get approved, get the whole moving process, it's not enough time. So you want to start looking at least 3 months out, and you don't even know if that works. So I'd always try to get a buyer to see if they can get approved for a house rather than taking them out to rent right away. Because why make your landlord tons of equity when you could be making that for yourself? Especially with all the programs out there. I mean, it's going to be competitive either way. It's going to be a tough search. But I prefer to get you somewhere where you can get equity, you can make money back, and it's not a temporary situation, because you're not going to live in an apartment forever. They're always going to be able to raise the rent on you. And that's another problem. The landlords are raising the prices. It's crazy. So it's almost more expensive to rent now than it is to buy. What about you? How do your renters go?
It is sometimes more expensive. I think that.
What did you get them? Did they find a
No,
rental?
we still haven't. We're still looking.
How is it? So what about this? When you tell them, when they say, I want to look at this, but I'm going to think about it,
No, you can't think about
It's
it.
gonna
You
be
have
gone the
to do
next
your
day.
applications
Yes.
and get everything done right away because it's not going to last.
Same thing with the inventory, how it is, buying, renting, same thing. You have to, if you like a house, you even think you want to put an offer, put that offer in there because it's going to be gone if you wait. It's crazy. But who doesn't want to make money off their own house? It's definitely a plus to buy rather than rent. Now, what would you guys say a plus to renting would be over buying? What situation do you think?
I don't know. No matter what, once you're done renting, you're still going to be in a spot where you don't own a house. And you're either going to have to look to buy a house or look to rent again. If you're looking for something like temporary, if you're just like floating around, it might be more beneficial not to be tied to a house that you own. If you're doing like a month-to-month lease kind of thing. That's really the only situation I could think of. Like, I just think of like, you're already going to have to stay somewhere. You might as well build your own equity by buying the house instead of renting it.
Right, what about you?
Well, I think a lot of times it's a good move if you're trying to build your credit and trying to get that payment history established. That would be a good time to do the rental, but not forever, not long term, because you are building equity for somebody else. So if that's your goal, I can see where you're trying to get your credit repaired and get that history. But I can see where some people too, like you said, do enjoy not having to worry about fixing anything, doing the lawn, any pool maintenance. That's a plus. But
Yeah, that's a plus. But if you calculate it, okay, I pay this much for rent. I'm losing this much in equity. We can pay a handyman. We can just get somebody to do whatever we want to the house, and it's going to be a whole lot cheaper. We're going to make a lot more money by still buying.
yes, but like I said, there are some people that, elderly people, like Eddie said, the younger kids are not thinking about that right now.
No.
For them, they're just thinking about building their credit and their
right.
history. So that, like I said, is a good thing for the renters. But like you said, if you like a house, you have to jump on it, and whether that's buying or renting.
As someone who like needs to improve their credit, renting is a great tool. If you want to improve your credit, it's going to show payment history. So I would definitely, someone who can't get into a house, build their credit history. Yeah, you're going to make your landlord a little bit of money for a while, but it's just going to be benefiting you because you're going to be building credit history. It's just, don't get stuck in that. And that's what landlords hope you do. You get comfortable. I love the house. I want to stay. I'll pay higher rent. And it's always going to go up because of inflation. So just know it is a means to an end when it comes to renting. Okay, so another misconception people have with renting versus buying, they think it's an easier process. So have you put an offer in for rental yet?
No, not yet.
You did put an offer. Did you put an offer in?
Yeah, well, I put in applications.
So
like
what
every
do they
time you
ask
put in
for?
an application, you're gonna have to pay for the application.
Right.
There's going in that there's like multiple other applications that they're probably being sent because everyone's looking for houses right now, and they can be picky with the applicants they get. If you have renters who maybe like have a pet, and you know that landlord's going to get applicants that don't have a pet, they're probably going to pick the one without the pet. And they can be picky like that because they're getting a lot of applications like that. So the whole process could be discouraging when you're just like looking for places. You don't really like this place. You finally find a place you like, have to put money in to get qualified, to get approved for it, and then they just pick someone else.
Absolutely. It's horrible. And there's laws. I mean, they're not supposed to say, oh, I don't want you because of this reason or that reason. I mean, the owners do have the right to pick, but to a certain extent, like they can't choose race or religion or something like that as a reason not to pick you, but they can have that reason and just make
How can you prove
another
that's
excuse,
the reason?
right?
Exactly.
So it's tough. And the worst thing about renting, and that I don't like, is you do have to pay an application fee. You have to pay per adult. A lot of times, if you have a pet, you have to pay a pet deposit.
Plus your
You have to pay
security
a background
deposit.
check. There's a lot. Even if you don't get the rental, you've already put a couple $100 in there just to even try to get it.
It's very whack.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about that whackness?
I
Pretty
don't
whack.
like that whackness.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least when you're gonna buy a house, you talking to the lender, they're working on the financing part. If we don't get a house, if our offer doesn't get accepted, we don't lose any money. So we only put the money in if we actually get accepted on that house. So that's another pro to the buying. But anything else about renting that, I mean, I would rent instead of own? Any other scenarios?
No, I can't think of anything else.
Maybe, I guess if you're married or you're with someone, but you're getting ready to break up or leave them. You don't want to buy a house together.
Okay.
It's going to be a horrible
If you can't
process.
commit, yeah.
Yeah, if you have commitment problems, don't buy a house together. I mean, there are real estate agents who just go after divorcees. It's a big market. You don't get involved. It's horrible. It's ugly. I mean, sometimes the spouse who doesn't get control of the house trashes the house. It's a horrible situation. I would rent rather than buy there.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I mean, trying to think of any other good reasons to rent, but that's about it. I mean, if you're on the fence and you're thinking about buying, I mean, reach out to us. We'll be totally honest. If we can't get you approved, or our lenders can't get you approved, they'll put you on a plan where you can. So you can rent for a little while longer if you need help renting. I mean, we're always fine helping renters too, the best we can. I mean, it's crazy out there, depending on what market you're in. So, I mean, do you prefer a renter or a buyer? If you had to choose one to help.
As an agent, a buyer.
Of course, a buyer.
Not only because of the money wise, I mean, that's also.
Well, no, and the reason I say a buyer is because you're actually helping somebody find their place. It's not just for the meantime. It's going to be their home. They're going to make it, and that's a big deal. I mean, to help somebody find a home.
Yeah. They're better off that way in that they're kind of like more secure. And like I said, like a lot of people just don't know that there's people whose entire job it is to make it clear cut what you need to do to get in the place where where you can get a loan to buy the house, where you could be accepted and you're not throwing away money renting, and you could just make money for yourself while you're doing what you have to do, living in a house.
Right, and the landlords have raised the prices. They raised them higher than the trying to buy a house. They had that forbearance during COVID where you can go ahead and put your payment on hold for up to 6 months without having to pay. But after those 6 months are up, they want the whole amount due.
Yeah.
So the landlords, there was no recourse for them. They were kind of almost got screwed those 6 months. They didn't get any money from the clients. They couldn't take any action. But now it's getting to that time where they got to pay that money back. So the landlords, they're definitely not going to collect on it. No one's going to have 6 months. If they didn't have the months to pay then, a lot of them don't have 6 months to just pay the landlord now. So the landlords have got a little screwed. So trying to make up for that, and I don't blame them. If I was a landlord, I guess I would do the same thing, because yeah, everyone gets stimulus, they get the forbearance, but the landlords really didn't get anything to benefit them if that's their full-time way to get money. So now they're raising their rents higher because they know they can, because they know the inventory is low. So that's another thing to watch out for. The prices are just going to keep rising. And I don't know if you guys heard, they just approved for interest rates to raise again, and it's going to go 3 more times. So if you're looking to buy, I mean, you're already going to get that initial interest rate bump, but it's going to bump 3 more times. So if you're looking to buy, don't wait, because the prices are not only going to go up, but so are interest rates. Right. Nothing else about renting?
I squeezed it all out of my system.
You got anything left in your system?
I don't have anything left.
Well, thank you guys for listening to us today, and I hope you learned a little something about renting versus buying. I didn't want to bash renting, because there is pros for it. You divorcees looking to leave who you're with, renting's a great option. Build your credit. But other than that, let's try to buy. All right, don't make your landlord rich, make yourself rich. I'm Eddie Blanco.
Stephanie Heron.
Eddie Blanco's a third.
Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.